and welcome to Mountain Patriot Homestead. I hope everyone is having a wonderful afternoon. The weather here on the mountain is absolutely perfect. If there was a picture of spring in the dictionary, this would be it. I am absolutely thrilled with the way the weather is, and so I am outside I'm outside enjoying it. So I hope you excuse the background noise. This is actually the more quiet side of the house. We've got a wraparound porch, and so I can kind of change sides of the house, but on the other sides of the house, the wind's blowing. So it sounds like I'm in a hurricane if I'm somewhere else. And on this side, we're getting the sounds of Mr. Homestead out there welding in the field. So that's what you're hearing in the background. But I just wanted to drop in and visit with y'all a little bit. Last weekend, with it being Easter, we kind of took the weekend off and done a little riding around and just relaxing and enjoying the beautiful weekend. And I hope that all of you are doing well, and that your week has went well, and that your weekend is starting well. We, as usual, have a lot going on here. There's always more to do than we have time or money to do it. What is out there welding right now, fly about hit me right in the eye, is he is putting up some H braces. We are constantly, always building fence, and this is actually going to be an extension of the goat pens, and he's expanding those out so we can let them go out into a new part of the field and enjoy the grass out there. The sheep are actually, I've put a little video clip in this one of our auto lawnmowers that we have. We've got some electric fencing that we run around for the sheep and move around, and they do a little bit of our mowing for us here in the yard. Of course, they can't ever keep up with it because there's just a lot to mow, but it gets them some green, fresh grass, and it cuts down on some of our mowing, so that's okay. And let's see what else is going on. The normal stuff. The garden, I'd planned on showing y'all some video of me putting some stuff in the garden, but I'm holding off on that for a couple of days. I'm really wondering if I need to hold off longer because the weather is causing me some concern. Tomorrow there is a chance, and every time I look at it, it's a larger chance of some severe weather for our area. And we're actually in a zone that is got a possibility, of course, may not happen, and I really hope it doesn't, a possibility of 2+ inch diameter of hail. That type of hail could cause extensive damage, not just to the garden, but to, livestock and vehicles, and even, homes. So I really hope that that is just not going to happen, and that weather forecast falls through. I don't care if we get rain, but I do not want the hail like that. I did notice earlier today when we were out tinkering with the garden fence that I'm going to have to redo one of our Martin houses. Apparently some of the wind that we recently had almost blew the roof off of one of our Martin houses, so I'm going to have to fix it. Of course, it's a farm, there's always things to do, but I'm going to have to fix it. And like I said, I was going to transplant a bunch of things out of the greenhouse into the garden, but I think I'm going to hold off on that because I don't want to get it all moved out into the garden and then get demolished by 2-inch hail. I did get a shade cloth on the greenhouse roof this week, and me saying I did. No, I didn't. We did, because I'm just not tall enough or talented enough to throw that shade cloth across the roof of the greenhouse to get it tied down. So, you know, my better half helped me get that on there, because like I said, I tried and was about to get mad at it because I just couldn't sling it hard enough to get it across the top. But I got that on there, which helps with the daytime temperatures inside the greenhouse, because with the temperatures even in the 70s, those temperatures inside the greenhouse push 100 degrees in the middle of the day. So it's way too hot in there for even my heat-loving plants. They don't like that. So anyway, that shade cloth has made a big difference. Everything seems to be happier, and so I have a little bit of leeway there before I have to get things out into the garden. However, I did want to get my tomatoes and some of my larger plants that are in there. I wanted to get them out into the garden because, you know, they just want to stretch their toes out into the dirt, which I don't blame them. But they'll go out there soon. I thought, well, I'll put them out Sunday. And then I looked at the weather forecast for next weekend, and there's actually a morning that's supposed to be, I think, 35. It's like, come on, you know, Mother Nature, take your meds, because I don't want any frost or anything nipping back what I put out there. So I'm hoping that's, you know, I'm going to keep an eye on it and see if maybe that's just wrong, and maybe anything that really doesn't like the cooler temperatures, maybe I can hang on to it for a little bit longer. But it's got to go out fairly soon, because after a while they just get root bound, and they just do not like that. My chestnuts are getting so big. There's the little chestnut trees that I showed in a previous video where I planted the chestnuts. They're getting so big. Some of my bigger ones are almost 2 foot tall now. They're so pretty. I'm really so shocked because I didn't expect them to take off so quickly. I don't want to transplant them out into the ground yet. I would like to repot them and set them out next year, next spring, to let them get bigger diameter and just have a better chance with. I'm afraid if I set them out right now, rodents are going to get them, because, you know, even though they're tall, they're still, you know, got the little fine stems and things like that. And I just really want to give them a fighting chance since they're trying so hard. Other than that, I'm looking around trying to get ideas of what else is going on around here, but pretty much, you know, it's just, other than work, it's just non-stop stuff around here. And anyway, let's see. One of the things I meant to bring up is in one of my previous videos I spoke about manners and etiquette and behavior, proper behavior, polite behavior. And because of the type of job I work in, I see a lot of people all week long, and so I see a lot of various behaviors, some good, some not so good, which no matter where you're at, you're going to see that. You can see that in the church. So, but I do have a chance to observe a lot of people that interact with each other and see how they interact, and a couple of things that came up that reminded me of just behaviors and how different people, how varied our social education, I guess, is one of the things is involving the elderly or the invalid, and that is just the way I was raised, is that if an older person comes in and all the seats are taken, you stand up and offer them a seat. Now understand that if you're disabled or if you've got some type of medical, physical thing that prevents you from doing it and you need the seat, I totally get that. I'm not knocking anybody. However, if I'm perfectly healthy, there's nothing preventing me from standing up for a few moments and offering someone else who, if they're obviously physically unable to remain on their feet, they're on oxygen, they're on crutches, or they're older than me, just out of sheer politeness, I'm going to stand and offer them a seat. This past week, I did observe that. I did observe, some standing up and offering someone else a seat. I did see others that just absolutely did not. And I wouldn't think that much about it if it wasn't for the fact that I knew that these people are perfectly healthy and there's nothing wrong with them. So, when I see that, it's kind of like, good thing that I'm not your mama. But that, and I guess just there's a lot of sickness going around right now. A lot of people with allergies and I don't know, the flu or whatever. But I know at work we've had a lot of people, they'll sit out in the hall and they're hacking and coughing, and you can tell, bless their hearts, they're just sick. And just the simple fact that so many of them are just just coughing all over everywhere. It's like, cover your mouth, what is the matter with you? But whether it's coughing into your elbow or coughing into your hand or coughing into your shirt, dang, cover your mouth. I mean, just coughing all over everything. I'm not a big germaphobe, don't get me wrong, but even I have a thing of hand sanitizer on my desk because, people come in, hand me stuff, and it's like, and then they're coughing all over it, and it's like, okay, a little sanitizer there, but, just a little bit of manners, cover your face if you got a cough, or sneeze, or whatever you're doing, cover your mouth. Yawning, cover your mouth. That was just the way I was raised, and maybe I expect too much, maybe I'm just old-fashioned, but I am old, and I do believe that there's just certain things you're supposed to do. Maybe I'm just cantankerous. Maybe that's what it is. But whatever the reason is, I just think there's certain things you got to do and certain rules you got to follow. But yeah, that's just the way things are. I'm sorry, I'm pausing for a second. He had turned off the welder. I thought maybe he was finishing up, about ready for supper, but I guess he figured out something else he needed to do. If you notice me squinting, the sun is fixing to break over the eave here in just a second, and so I'll be sitting here looking like I'm about ready to strangle somebody, but I'm really not. I just can't see you. Other than that, there's just not a lot going on. I ran by the Bent and Dent store today, but I didn't do a video on the haul. A couple of reasons for that. One reason, sorry, I gotta scoot up, I'm trying to keep the sun out of my face. Couple of reasons for that. One reason is I didn't have time. Because it does take a lot of time for me to go through each item and look up the prices that I would normally pay if I went to a normal store. And the other reason was I don't know how wise it is to continue showing everything to everybody that you have. I'm not saying that anybody on here is dishonest, but we just don't know who all's watching what we do anymore. So I think we just have to be careful because, you know, we live in a crazy world, crazy world. It's always been crazy, but it's getting crazier. I don't, you know, if any of y'all have noticed the news from this past week, I mean, it's after a while, it's like, oh, no more news. I don't want to hear anything else. La, 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 la. But that's not good either. You know, sticking your head in the sand is not going to stop things from happening. I think we need to know that things are going on and things are happening, and to be ready for anything. I mean, if you live on the coast, you know you need to be ready for hurricanes. If you live in Texas and Kansas and around here, you know you've got to be ready for bad weather, because we get those summer storms that can kick up a tornado or whatever. So we know that we've got to be ready for things. The South Fork Dairy in Dimmitt the other day, you know, they have an explosion fire, kills 18,000 cows. You know, they didn't wake up that morning thinking, hey, you know, this dairy could blow up. We could, you know, who expects those kind of things? They didn't. And, you know, the only thing we can do is be ready for things that could happen. Pay attention to the news. You know, if you have a bunch of things happening to dairies, you can kind of expect maybe milk prices might go up. If you have things happening over in oil country, you can probably expect fuel to be going up. If, I don't know, you have a bunch of chickens that, you know, have a demise for one reason or another, eggs are probably going to go up. It's just things like that we need to watch and pay attention, and just keep in mind when we go shopping that we do need to shop for things that we use. Don't go out and buy a bunch of junk you're never going to use and then it just clutters up the house. But buy things that you're going to use, that you know you have a use for, and use it. Today during my shopping trip, I bought things that I'll use, and because it was at a little salvage grocer, it is things that are deeply discounted, far cheaper than I could go to a regular store and buy. And I wanted to share with you today that I did confirm. Remember in some of the previous videos we had talked about Best Buy and expiration dates and use by dates and all that sort of thing. I confirmed with a store manager and a health department employee that, a health inspector, let me clarify, that those dates that are on those packages, remember those dates are put there by the manufacturer, and for various reasons. Some of them are because the quality of the product tends to go down after a certain amount of time. However, the main reason those are on there are for product turnover, because if there's not some reason for the grocer or the store owner to pull those things off the shelf after a certain amount of time, they'd sit there forever. So the manufacturer puts those on there for production purposes because it makes a turnover. It made perfect sense to me if the manufacturer's putting it on there, so that way, oh, well, it didn't sell after a certain amount of time, pull it off, we'll put some more on there. I have been eating salvage goods for years now. As you can tell, I'm still around. I may not be the best looking thing on the shelf, but I hadn't keeled over yet. Again, use due diligence if you buy, but I tell you, I have bought things. I'm sorry, this sun's killing me. Let me move. I'm not sure that's going to help, but anyway, I bought things from normal stores, and by normal stores, it's not like salvage stores aren't normal stores, but I bought things from regular grocers where, you know, you buy green bananas and in 2 days they're brown. You buy a loaf of bread and tomorrow it's molded. You buy I don't know, meat and it's turned, or just stuff that you bought it, it's in date, but it goes bad extremely fast. Produce, it seems to me, which I don't buy a lot of store-bought produce anymore, because I grow ours and I can it and I freeze it, and so I don't have to buy a lot. But you know, I can't grow bananas here, so you know, I buy bananas, or every once in a while in the middle of winter time I just want a salad, so I'll choke it down and pay the exorbitant prices they're wanting for a dang head of lettuce anymore. But it just seems like that the produce and the fruit, are any of y'all having that problem? It seems like you buy something and you better eat it then, because if you don't, that stuff's gonna be way over ripeness before long, or wilted, or whatever. So I don't know if anybody else has that issue, but I have noticed it in the stuff that I've got. Maybe I'm just storing it wrong, I don't know, but I've stored it the same way that I've always stored it, including the stuff I grow and store. So I don't know, maybe, I don't know what it is, but like I was saying though, the dates on most of the stuff that I bought today from the salvage store was months within date. Some of the stuff that I bought that was at date or past was it's canned stuff. The cans are intact, they're not bulging, they're, you know. And of course, even with my own canned stuff, things that I can, when I open it, I smell it. I'll smell it, make sure it smells right, you know. I'll look at it, make sure it's not growing a science project, and then I'll make sure that it's prepared properly. That, I don't care where you're getting food from. That's just what you should do. And that hopefully you will check around, and because I know everybody works too hard for their money to just give it away for no reason. If you can buy it somewhere at a better price and use that money for something else, paying off debts, then by all means I would encourage you to do that, because right now we really need to work on, all of us included, because that's something we're doing this year, is really trying to get debts paid off. Well, the mister has turned off the welder and looks like he is wrapping up the lines, or the leads, or whatever he calls them. I'm not a welder, so I don't know. So I think that is my cue to get off of here, go help feed, and get us fed. In the meantime, I hope all of you have a wonderful weekend. If I can get out another video about something that you want to hear about, I'll try to do that this weekend. If not, I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to all of you again real soon. Love y'all. Mountain Patriot Homestead, signing out.